Good morning, everyone. Well, it's morning for you, but I'm having to record this at night. This is the weekend, and weekends can get noisy. There was a birthday party next to me, and the guest of honor invited about 250,000 friends. I don't know, maybe 50. But they were partying and playing all day long, which is good, which is what you need to do. I just have to reschedule, so that's all. No big deal. Just explaining why I'm recording this at 9 o'clock at night instead of 7 or 8 in the morning. Okay, so we're done with the basic cleanup so that God can open up the millennium. Now, when we say the word millennium, I'm going to get people to tell me that that's not in the Bible, it's not a biblical term. There's all kinds of biblical terms that are in the Latin Bible that aren't in the English Bible. Millennium is one of them. It means 1,000 years. Milla means 1,000. So millennium is 1,000 years. We have other words that are Latin in origin in our English language that we use every day. So if you don't like Latin, stop speaking English. Words like agenda, that's Latin. Omni. I've told you before, the word rapture comes from Latin. It's a Latin translation of the Greek word harpazo, which is in the English Bibles that we have. Post-mortem, persona non grata. Facsimile. Somebody sends you a fax. That's an abbreviation of facsimile, which means a copy. Some people are naive about the origin of words, or they're involved in turpitude, which means depravity. So those are some basic Latin words. There was 50 to 100 of them if I wanted to put them all up here, and that would be about as much fun as reading the phone book. So we're going to go in, we're going to start reading Revelation 20, verse 1, and see about the millennium. And I saw an angel coming out of heaven, having the key to the abyss and a great chain in his hand. I love the graphics here. And he laid hold of the dragon, the old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years. That is good news. Now, what's going to be the bad news is coming after the 1,000 years. But for the first part of this 1,000 years, it's going to be great. These are people who survived the horrors of the tribulation time frame. Okay. In verse 3, and cast him into the abyss and shut it and sealed it over him that he should deceive the nations no more until the 1,000 years should be finished. After this, he must be loosed for a time. He will be set free. But then he's going to go head to head with God, and we know how that comes out. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that had been beheaded for the testimony of Jesus. Martyrs. Lots of them, especially during the tribulation. We have them all the time. We have them today. We're dealing with a version of it in dealing with Hamas. Oh, and as of now, they still have not found the president's helicopter in Iran. What's that area up to the north? Azerbaijan or something like that. In any case, how can you lose your country's president? Anyhow, hopefully by the time you see this in the morning, they will have found it, because I think it's still like 3 or 4 in the morning there, given that it's about 9 o'clock our time. So it's not quite daylight yet. But even Turkey's had a drone flying back and forth looking for it. It's in rugged terrain that has forests, and it's cold, damp, so if there was a fire, it probably went out. Maybe, like I said, by the time you see this video, they would have found it. And here it's the first time in history, I think, that people are anxiously waiting to find out that no one survived the helicopter flight. at least in the world. Okay, getting back to our story. I saw some of them that had been beheaded for the testimony of Jesus and for the word of God, and such as worship not the beast, neither his image, and received not the mark on their forehead and upon their hand, and they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. So these are people that are going into, he's seating the 1,000 years with good people. As I've said before, the whole purpose of the millennium, in my opinion, is there's going to be those naysayers at the end saying, you didn't give us a chance, God. We had Satan hounding us and tormenting us and lying to us all our life, and we never had a chance. Okay? Here's their 1,000-year chance. 1,000 years, what can you do with it? Well, the first generation will probably be fine, and the second generation will probably be fine. But by the time they get to the end, we're going to have Armageddon. In order to do that, you have to have a big army ready to fight God. So there's going to be a lot of increase, but not in godly increase. Okay, the rest of the dead live not until the 1,000 years should be finished. This is the first resurrection. Okay. Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. Over these the second death has no power, but they shall be priests of God and of Christ, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. We're coming back. Jesus is coming back. We already know that. What we've been reading for the past few days, since we've been reading in Revelations, we're reading future history. It's already history to God because he's already seen the beginning and the end. So for him, it's history. For us, it's the future. And the only part that really matters at this point is that we're coming back to help reign over this. We saw that in Revelation 12. Going after the child, or the male child that was born, that would rule with an iron fist. Well, that's not Jesus, because this was written in 90 AD, roughly. It's prophecy, looking forward, not looking back. Prophecy doesn't look back. That's not prophecy. That's history. Okay, so they're going to get their chance. They're going to live on the earth. It's still the same earth that we live on now. I don't know what shape it's going to be in, but they're going to live here with this remnant that is going to seed everything. So in verse 7 of Revelation 20, and when the 1,000 years had finished, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison and shall come forth to deceive the nations which are in the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them. Now, there's thought that Gog and Magog is in the beginning, or sometime in the early part of the tribulation, but it's also here. So, which is it? Nobody is sure. Okay? The bottom line is that there is a Gog and Magog war. Ezekiel predicted it. Some people interpret his writing as happening before, but we also have it here. I like this one better. It fits the storyline better. But there's going to be war. There has to be war for the Antichrist to have peace. Okay. To gather them together to the war, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. Four corners of the earth. Not everybody was killed off. And 1,000 years later, they've repopulated if they were. And they went up over the breadth of the earth and compassed the camp of the saints about, and the beloved city, Jerusalem. And the fire came down out of heaven and devoured them. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where also the beast and the false prophet were there to greet him. And they shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. All right. Now, God, being a just God, is going to review These are not Christians. These are just people who survived through all this. And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat upon it, and whose face the earth and the heaven fled away, and there was found no place for them. And I saw the dead, the great and the small, standing before the throne. And the books were opened, and another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of things which were written in the books, according to their works. So God's going to be fair. You don't get to heaven by works alone. But there's going to be something in here. These are a mixture of people. That's why all the books were opened. And the sea gave up the dead that were in it, and the death of Hades gave up the dead that were in it, and they were judged every man according to their works. And death and Hades were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death, even the lake of fire. And if it was not found written, and if anyone was not found written in the book of life, he was cast into the lake of fire. So the works don't get you to heaven, but you will be judged based on them. Now, if your name's in the book of life, he may have something to say to you, but that's the bema seat. And I saw an angel coming down out of heaven, having the key to the abyss. We've already covered that. That's 20. Did we already read all of 20? I think we did. I have got to do a better job of copying this stuff. Okay. I don't want to read 22 yet. That was 20. Where's 21? I'm having these senior moments lately. I don't know what it is. Well, I wanted to get through this before we go into the next anyway, so we're going to start in 21 when I do the next video. This finishes up the bad. Armageddon is over with. The devil, the beast, the harlot, they're all in the lake of fire. God's judged people using the white throne judgment. It's over. We can look forward to all the good stuff coming. And I kind of wanted to say that anyway. That's what God is doing to me here. He didn't have me copy it in here to read it because he wants to cover that separately. I'll give you a taste in 22. You showed me a river of water of life, bright as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of God and of the Lamb, and the street thereof, and the river. See, everything that we have down here is in heaven. It's a copy. Now, it's a cheap copy because this is earth. But there was a temple here. There's, a temple up there. We had the ark. They have an ark. There's a river. There's a river flowing out of the throne area. That's great. Out of Jerusalem. We're going to get a new heaven and new earth. So there's plenty to be excited about. Well, since this is late, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. This is a shorter video. I may throw some ducks at the end. See who... Not everybody's commenting about it. See, I don't think everybody's watching these videos. This is a lesson series that I'm doing on Revelation because everybody kept saying I wasn't doing it. I didn't like to read all that heavy stuff, that bad stuff. I don't mind reading up till the seals to prove to the point that these are visions. I don't mind reading Revelation 12. But I didn't like reading all the other stuff. It's bad. Over half the population is killed in the first few chapters of that. It's not good. The seals and the trumpets. And then we get the wrath of God on top of that. So, have a great day. The sun's going down fast, so I'm going to grab my stuff and head back in and get this edited so I can get it uploaded sometime while I'm awake. Till we meet in the clouds. God bless. They're getting pretty big. At least they don't have to feed them anymore. They bring them out and let them eat themselves. And that's all they do all day long.